I'm going to be a teacher today. If you follow the comment trail, you can figure out the actual analysis or the study that was done because I linked the doctors in it. But this study is talking about sexual reproductive cancer. Instead of just saying that it's talking about sexual reproductive cancer, you threw this out there like, oh my God, you're going to get more cancer with the more people that you have sex with. Just across the board, just any cancer, but that's not the case.
Tomato, tomato. The important thing is she's dead.
Stay away from me.
Hey, what's up, Kings? Real quick take on this woman, Feel the Feels. I'm gonna kind of deep dive into her for a while. Responding to a comment, the difference, it's about body count and double standard for body count, why it matters less for a guy and for a woman is the age-old discussion. But the difference is it's easy for women in general to have sex, and in general for men, it's hard to for them to have sex with a woman. I think that it brings up a very, very, very good point. You know, there's sort of a yin and yang in body count. Like, it matters for men, but it matters less. For women, it matters more. And nature has kind of made it so because of the oxytocin and all the different hormones that are released. They're more sensitive for women when they sleep with a man. They get more pair bonded with men, and then if they do this repeatedly, they kind of get damaged on the pair bonding side. So anyway, this Feel the Feels woman is kind of a little bit of a man hater, I'd say. She's pretty frustrated in the single scene. She's not able to secure a man. I would say she's probably like a high value woman only in terms of like her income and her living standards. I wouldn't say she's high value in any other respect. She's mid. She's very mid. An okay body, pretty decent body for somebody who's in their midlife. I mean, she's hot for an American woman, or attractive for an American woman, but like, again, for overseas, if you compare her to overseas women, not so much. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it.
And see, I think this is the bigger point. It's easy for women to go out and have sex, but it's not easy for men. So men react in a way emotionally, like this is all pure emotion. They are so frustrated. The insecure man, okay? The insecure man is frustrated that he does not have access to sex easily, but women do. So he might as well.
So I think now, I'm sure some men, she's probably right for some men. We want, it's not fair. It's not fair. Women get access to sex, men don't. And overwhelming majority of men, it's a preference. It's like, if you're wanting to date somebody who's 6 feet tall or whatever, you want somebody who is, you don't imagine having had so many different partners and everything. And then they use the insecure label.
Well, put a rule on a woman and say, well, I don't want a woman who has had access to men because I haven't had access to women. So it's a reaction that is emotionally guided. And maybe that's the reason. I mean, if you are emotionally guided for your rules and your standards because of how other people treat you, you are not acting in a healthy way. You are projecting your own insecurities onto others.
Right. Okay. So yeah, she uses the word insecure. So it's a typical rant. And it's something I learned today, actually, in the comments section. I participate in these, of course. It's always fun to participate. I'd say that promiscuity is not a new concept to figure out. It's been frowned upon for thousands of years. Promiscuous people have shorter lifespans. It's risky business. There's no definitive evidence that promiscuous people have shorter lifespans. And I was able to do a quick Google search, and Reuters has an article. You just search this thing, is this blurb here, compared to women who reported one partner or more. I'll put a link for the Reuters clip on, or the article on the description. But none of those who reported 10 or more were 91% more likely to have been diagnosed with cancer. Now, this could be one of these like correlation, not causation things, but the significance is so great that you can't really ignore the the difference here. So, if you want to really get on the deep end, you could say, well, it's God's way of kind of making sure that women stay virtuous. Cancer, there's a myriad of reasons why cancer occurs, but there's probably hormonal issues, obesity issues, women who have had a lot of partners. Just if I'm spitballing here, women who have a lot of partners, they'll be depressed. They'll be on SSRIs or other things because they're not able to land a man because men don't want to wife them up if they've been sleeping around a lot. They're anxious, depressed, and everything because of the constant volatility of sleeping with a new man and that kind of not materializing into something happily ever after, and then it gets worse and worse with age. And maybe they overeat because they're emotionally driven to eat more or whatever. There's a lot of those reasons, but I think ultimately, is probably a correlative reason that it's because of the sex. It's because of what results from having so many partners and the guilt and the emotional damage that's caused by it. And then the other bad habits come into play. Now, maybe there's some promiscuous women, like, this woman, maybe if she's promiscuous, I don't know for sure. She may be one of those few people who are able to compartmentalize sex a little bit better, or she can, reflect more accurately on like why it didn't work when she slept with this man or whatever. And I don't think she necessarily has a huge body count. Like, if I were just to guess, she probably has 10, 15 partners in her life. But she's been married twice. You can take into account that she probably didn't cheat on those guys. You make that assumption. Yeah, 10 to 15 partners seems about fair. She probably had a couple in college, screwed around, had a couple one-night stands, friends with benefits, couple husbands. You add it up, and then you get about 10 or 15. That would just be a guess. So it's not low, but it's not extraordinarily high to the point where she's like so emotionally damaged. Plus, she's constantly on her own little therapy cycle, so she's probably mitigating some of the emotional damage from that. But you could tell that there is definitely triggering involved. There's like this sort of backlash. That's not fair. It's not fair that high body count women can't find men. Why are you men so insecure? So she's projecting on her projecting claim, I think. Anyway, it's a short take. I just wanted to have some fun with this, but body count matters. Body count matters, absolutely. And it matters more for women than it does for men, but it does matter for men. I think materializes more in trust issues. If you slept with a lot of women, then you might think that all women act in this way, and you start believing it. You start believing your own bullshit. So important not to have a huge body count, guys. Establish, friends with benefits situationships. The whole homie strategy is about one partner simulating a relationship, things like that. It's alternative, but it's still mainstream in the sense that it is relationship focused. You shouldn't worry about how many women you have slept with. That's not, it shouldn't be your goal in life. You shouldn't necessarily rack up a high body count. Anyway, that's about it. Take care, Kings.